Hey. Okay, so I'm gonna be reviewing the next movie in the Child's Play series, which is Curse of Chucky, which came out in 2013. Now, and this one's also directed by Don Mancini, which I forgot to mention. Seed of Chucky, Bride of Chucky, or Seed, yeah, no, I did. Seed of Chucky is directed by Don Mancini, and so is this one, and then the next one, Cult of Chucky. Now, I wasn't expecting much from this one, because this one came out almost 10 years after Seed of Chucky, and I'm not really huge fan of the Child's Play series. I like the first three movies. I didn't like Bride of Chucky or Seed of Chucky, so I didn't have high hopes for this one. Um, this actually stars Brad Dourif's daughter, Fiona Dourif, which I think this was like her first starring role, and she does a really good job in it. And I liked her in Cult of Chucky too. So this one, I guess this movie is it skips Bride and no, it doesn't skip Bride. I guess it skips Seed of Chucky at least, because Tiffany and Jennifer Tilly exists in this one. So this one is about a young woman. She's disabled. She's in a wheelchair, and she lives at this abandoned house, like a mansion basically, with her mother, and she receives this package in the mail, which is a good guy doll, which is actually Chucky in disguise. And she, one night, it's a dark, stormy night, kind of like most horror movies. The power goes out, and her mom, or no, where'd the power go? No, her mom falls down the stairs and breaks her neck and dies. And so she calls her family out to come see her and her mom, and her family stays there to comfort her and help take care of her. And once they get there, a lot of strange things starts happening, such as a priest, which you find out Chucky poisoned the food, one of the bowls at the dinners, and at dinner, and the priest eats it, and he has to go home because he said he feels sick, and he drives home and gets in a car accident, and his head gets nearly decapitated, which I thought was kind of extreme. It's like, why don't you just let him die from poisoning or whatever? But okay, I know they're trying to meet their gore quota. So while they're there, typical horror movie fashion, slasher movie fashion too, is they all start getting picked off one by one, and later you find out what's really going on, which is Brad Dourif, or Charles Lee Ray, when he was human, impregnated a woman and was holding her hostage. And I guess he was like so in love with this woman that if she let, because it was supposed to lead up to events in the first movie when Charles Lee Ray is running away from Chris Sarandon's character from the first movie when he's chasing him and they go up to the toy store and he dies. Well, before that, I guess he was on the run and he has the woman tied up and he was gonna, kill the baby, but something happens and he only punctures the stomach, and that's why you find out that Fiona Dourif's character, which I think her name is Nika, is paralyzed because she says she's been paralyzed since birth. So Charles Lee Ray is her father, and which is kind of weird and cool because Brad Dourif, who plays the voice of Chucky, that's Fiona Dourif's father in real life. Yeah, some of the kill scenes in this one are kind of hokey. Like there's one where there's like a little subplot going on with one of it was like the mother and like a nanny, and you find out that they're a lesbian couple. They have a crush on each other, and they don't want the husband to know about it. But anyways, the lesbian woman, she's like on the Sky call, like Skype or video chat thing, like Skype, and Chucky comes in and he puts like some water on the floor, a bucket of water, something like that, and she drops the laptop and she gets electrocuted, and it looks really bad, like bad CGI and all that. um, there's also I think because the issue I had with this movie, because I only saw the trailers and stuff at the time, was that Chucky's face looked really pudgy and fake, and it didn't look like him like in the other movies. He kind of looked like an Asian kid, like a little Asian. I don't can't explain it. It was so weird how his face was all puffy and stuff. And so the mom was like going up in the attic because she hears something, and she starts like she sees something wrong with Chucky's face, and she starts peeling the skin off of his face, and then you see the scars and stuff, and you're like, oh, that's why his face looks like that. But I think he stabs her eyeballs out, and then she gets pushed down, and she falls down down the stairs. But that does seem okay. Um, there's a scene with a little girl, or there's a little girl in the movie, which I think is Nika's niece or cousin, something like that. She basically Chucky's trying to influence her so he can get into her body, and they're like hiding underneath the sheets and it's storming out, and and the little girl, what is her name? I forgot her name, but she's like, Chucky, I'm scared, and then Chucky's like, you fucking should be. I'm like, what? Like, damn. Um, what are some other scenes? I forgot what happened to the husband. Like, oh, yeah, like, how they find out, like, Charles Lee Ray was connected to the family somehow, was like, they're watching this old, like, film footage, like what do you call that, projector footage of, like, a family barbecue, and you see Charles Lee Ray there, like, playing around with the older sister when she was a kid, and they're like, who is that? Like, who's that weird man? Like, I don't know who he is. I thought, like, that was kind of interesting, like, how, like, he got connected to the family. I mean, it wasn't, like, beat over your head, but when I first saw this movie, I, I had a kind of a problem with it. Like, I liked the first half and the second half. But when it came to the ending, I didn't like it when they revealed that Charles Lee Ray impregnated this woman and held her hostage and stuff. I thought that was just too dumb and hokey. But like after a while, like I kind of appreciate it now because they're trying to connect the franchise. So that's a good thing. Like this felt more like a horror movie than Bride and Seed of Chucky. This movie felt like it was going back to its roots. It had more suspense in it, more, I guess, horror movie cliche stereotypes in it, like the like when the Chucky starts killing people off. It's like it's storming outside and lightning and the power's out. But there's this really great scene because Nika, the crippled the woman in the wheelchair, the only way she can get up and down the stairs is through an elevator system. And when she's riding up it, Chucky's like in her lap, or she's trying to escape from Chucky, and the power goes off, and then her and Chucky get into this fight, and she falls down some stairs, and she's trying to get back up the stairs, and it's just a really tense scene, like, because there's certain things in horror movies that make me tense up, and that's one of them. Like when a character is like crippled or in some way, or has a physical disability or something, and they don't really have the upper hand. It kind of makes things more tense for me. Like the movie Inside, but that's a pregnant woman. But that's still kind of intense. Or like Wait Until Dark. Audrey Hepburn's character is blind. There's a movie called Hush with a woman who's deaf and mute. So I like kind of like those aspects in in movies like that. And like I said, like out of the Child's Play movies, I'll rank this in fourth place. I thought, like I said, I felt it goes back to its roots, and it was more straight up a horror film than anything. And I guess I'll talk about the after credit sequence, or the ended in the after credit sequence. So at the end of the movie, Tiffany, Tiffany comes back, and um the the little girl the Chucky doll, and you think that Chucky possessed her body, which I guess he did, because I'll get into the next movie. Um, but on the after credits, it kind of leaves open ended what happened to her. But in the after credits scene, another doll is sent to another person, which you find out is Andy Barkley, and he pulls out a shotgun and he said, and he blows his head and shoots Chucky, and then it fades to black, and you're like, what's going on? Anyways, that's my review.